Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
It's a house!
You know, that's just one step above stupid.
Have you lost the last 3 brain cells, or do you just have cabbage for brains?
Stupid is being nice.
You're an absolute moron. 5 brain cells, 4 aren't working. There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp.
What's going on, freaks? Alright. Well, I tried my best to make 2 videos to help augment the revenue with ad revenue, but they just collapsed right out of the gate. Absolutely no reason for it whatsoever. Had all the right tags in it, everything. You know, interesting videos. And you know, that last one I did, I literally went out and found all the spots that the surveillance, the glasses video were taken, and it's got 1,000 views. I mean, that's insane. Okay, that's like 1/20th of what a video should be seeing. So I don't know what to tell you guys, but I'm gonna need your guys' help again tonight to help support the channel. Let's just try. I made 2 videos trying to do it, and just. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. It's bizarre, you know. No idea. And like, we already have more people watching this live stream than at any time during either of the 2 videos. Isn't that strange? Like, what difference? What does it matter? It's really weird. Bizarro world. That number is actually 228.5 on there. All right. I didn't see it up there. You can't post links, unfortunately. You just have to type in the same. You can't post links on YouTube of any kind. They don't allow you to do that. So you'd have to send me an email. Doesn't work. Well, I guess there's no dogs. Anyways, I thought we'd go over this sort of in the, again, what we were looking at, and then maybe listen to the, I got rid of, I thought those 2 people that spoke at that press conference, it was interesting. The stuff that they were saying. Alright, but let's see if we can not be on 0 on the channel too long tonight, okay? It'll get way, just last night was frustrating, today was frustrating. I'd like to have a non-stressful evening. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see it in my email. Oh. Everybody knows the email. grayhuze2@gmail.com. Oh, look at that, Amber Maiden. Because the thank you, Broncos. All right. Well, anyways, thank you. I'm glad your Broncos made the playoffs. I know that's one of you're probably a bigger Bronco fan as I am a Blazers fan. Even when they suck, you watch every game. TT Hans was gifted a membership by Sandy Shirley. Very cool. That's what we've been missing, is the cat eye donations. Those used to always be like the ones that save the show. Ah, I think I just missed that. Yeah, I'm just waiting for an email. I don't know. All right, so let's just go back to this. Oh, that's the video that I made. Yeah, I think this is the short form here. So I put out a video of this press conference, but I kind of want to listen to it again. Ah, sorry about that. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thanks,
Yeller.
Reck. None lives my fat city, so hurt by the tragedy.
Let's see. So where did you get this information? Where this location from? Sword, Destin. Where'd you get the location from? I never even got to spend any time looking for it. After I did realize it wasn't the Airbnb, I didn't have any time. Let's see. Right. I guess it is pretty close to the area. On the video from the FBI version, they list the road. Oh, okay. I guess I do have the FBI version. I never even looked at it, though. The wording on it. See, I have the, let's see, is it this one? I'll just bring it back in again. Video related to, I think this is it right here. Oops. Let's put it at the end. Right, this is what that was right off of the FBI site. I mean, they have that's actually a YouTube channel that had their own YouTube channel that has the information. Yeah, it doesn't say the on this thing. Where did it say that on there? What page did it tell you what street it was on? No, it's not anti-gravitic Chinese drones. Thanks, Alley Cake. Yeah, it looks right. I mean, even the tree's the same. You know, like that tree here is probably that same tree. And then the stairs. Let's see. I guess that part's missing. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit further down, I don't know. I mean, obviously those trees are the same, lining up all the way down there. Yep, so I guess that would be on here. Thanks for sending that. I didn't look on, in the description of what, the video? YouTube video? I didn't look at the description of the YouTube video. I just downloaded the video. Yeah, it's actually 228,500. It's bigger now. Here's our real numbers. I have to update that on a 228,500. So that's where this channel is in giving in the last 5 years, directly out of the income. Yep, and it only happens because of people like you supporting the channel and my ad revenue and everything else that comes in as income. All right, let's see. You know, what's weird is where are those steps? You know? So it has to start around it. It could be further down, I guess. Maybe those steps? Let's see. Nah, because the steps have side rails on them. Yeah, no, it has to be back here, though. Maybe they built those on. Maybe, what date is this street view? It's 2022, so I guess it's possible somebody built some... Yeah, you see these steps though right there? I just don't see the rails on any of those, so I guess we would have to just accept that somebody puts them on after this street view here, right? You get it? Hey, thanks John Wolf, Happy New Year. Still okay to say that, or am I late? Yeah, I think all the way through January would sound good.
Happy New Year. Still okay.
And it's still a Happy New Year, right? It's a new year. Right, but it does, everything else looks good. Looks like the right spot. Here, let me see what that is. It's like that gate. Maybe that's what this is right here. Yeah, that looks like that right there is this. So that means it's back a ways. And those steps are probably... Alright, so that means the tree... It's that tree right there is this one. And so that means that... oh, right there. There you go. I was hidden when I was walking by there. Yeah, weird. The only one I didn't see. There's the steps right there. Okay. Cool. Awesome. And he's walking by. He's literally walking by right there. Isn't that weird, just being able to look at it like that? Like he's walking by right there. So he's probably, you know, doing stuff with the bombs around that time, because it was 1, and they have the time up here. That's 2:07 at 1:12. So it's 1:12, 2:03, and then 2:07. Man, he looks like a radical here. Look at this guy. What has he got in that left hand? Is that like a his Quran or something? It's like a book. What do you guys think? Here, I'll show you. Maybe a cell phone. It's kind of big though for a cell phone. See how his finger goes all the way past it there? Like it's something that folds. See how now there's 2 sides of it right there? See that? Alright, anyways, we got that for later, but let's go over the, let's listen to this again. Hey, look at that. Sword Destin gifted another 5 memberships. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I don't know sure what's going on. We're having a slow period of time, and you know, YouTube's like purging. I think I down like 600 subs, you know, but it's not like something I'm doing. This is what YouTube does this every year. There's this period of time where they start purging subs that are kind of like these accounts that are out there. I don't know what those are or whatever, but maybe they don't exist anymore. or what's going on, but I don't know. So welcome to Wildflower, Candy, Jan, Carrie, and just me. All right, here we go.
Today we want to focus on filling in some of the gaps and giving you a greater understanding of the planning that went into this horrible attack by Shamsud Din Jabbar. We are also sharing videos showing Jabbar placing the IEDs on Bourbon Street and videos he took as he plotted this hideous attack. Thanks to information provided by you, the public, this investigation is crossing.
Doesn't it seem strange, like from August, or I think it was July, till now we've had so many of this weird shit going on? You know, the first Trump assassination, the second attempt. So the first Trump assassination attempt was sort of this weird, that guy actually reminds me of this guy, Jabbar. Just kind of a weirdo, sort of confused person. He tries to shoot Trump. And the second one, that guy's a crazy person too. I mean, traveling all around the world to create a mercenary army to fight against Russia for the Ukrainians, and going all over the place to different bases, lived in Hawaii, and somehow got like a Russian-style gun. And then you have the Iranian plot against different political figures. Then you've got, then you've got, this guy and Livelsberger, and Livelsberger is his is sort of weird. Doesn't feel the same as some of the others. Like, I don't know if there's any malintent, like evil, other than towards himself. Kind of weird. So, and I think there's another one I'm forgetting.
State and international borders as our agents follow leads in Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Tampa, Florida, and internationally. FBI Houston has recovered evidence at his home there, and the work now shifts to our specialists at the FBI laboratories. Interviews are being conducted with hundreds who have been identified as knowing key pieces of this complex, evolving case. We have also tracked that Jabbar traveled to Cairo, Egypt from June 22nd until July 3rd of 2023.
Yeah, so he goes all the way to Cairo, Egypt. What in the hell was he doing there, you guys? See, here's what it seems like to me is I think it's obvious that he has communicated with other ISIS, at least sympathizers, or actually with ISIS themselves. Like literally, what are you doing over in Egypt, for God's sakes? Although I think, let's see. Now I can't remember what political. I think ISIS is Sunni, I believe, and I think that's what Egypt is. So I guess that would be. Let's see. Is that right? Let me just make sure. Is ISIS Sunni? Oh, it's not. ISIS claims to follow the Salafi. Okay, they're just trying to, be political in here. Muslim tradition. That's what Sunni is. Yeah. The Islamic State is a transitional Sunni. Okay, now we get the reality. Transitional Sunni Islamist insurgent and terrorist group. All right, so it is. So whatever this AI thing up here got it wrong. Al-Qaeda in Iraq was a group of puritanical Sunni militants who plagued Iraq with suicide bombings, beheading. Yeah, I mean, it was just horrendous. You know. Yeah, well, it used to be Iraq is Shia. You know, so that's one of the things a lot of people don't. I mean, I'm just going to randomly say this is like, you know, how we like everybody hated Saddam Hussein. However, you know, he just in that barbaric world that they all live in, he controlled. So the entire country of Iraq is Shia, other than a small minority of Sunni who Saddam Hussein's, I think it was like Basque party, they promoted the Sunnis. They boosted them up. And that made them allies with their neighbors, such as Syria, Egypt, and I think maybe even Lebanon, etc. You know. And then what happened was we come in and we take out Saddam Hussein, and then Iran is all Shia. All right. So we come in and we take out Saddam Hussein. And then when they have voting in Iraq, well, guess who wins? The Shia do. Now they are religious allies, basically, with Iran at that point. But they hate each other because of the war that they had, even though now they're in the same religious side. And now you have a country of Iraq that isn't going to be sort of buddies with Egypt, religious-wise, and that's kind of what a lot of it is over there. They, you know, it's one religion against another, or sect of a religion. Pretty weird, though. Pretty weird. So anyways, this guy goes over to Egypt.
A few days later,
for like 10 days.
He flew to Ontario, Canada.
And then he goes to Ontario, Canada. I bet you there's something there, too. Some sort of a group or some people he was talking to.
On July 10th, and returned to the U.S. on July 13th.
Thank you, Vicky White. And if you're out there and you can help support the channel, I tried my best today to get make the 2 videos to help the channel, but they just absolutely collapsed right out of the gate, and they're almost not even being seen at this point. So if you guys can help, that'd be great.
On 2023. Our agents are getting answers as to where he went, who he met with, and how those trips may or may not tie into his actions here in our city in New Orleans.
Yeah, I think there's just no way that they aren't connected to something like that. I mean, it could be that, you know, why did he go to Ontario? I guess it makes sense if you're religious Muslim and you want to go to Egypt for a bit. But why'd you go to Ontario, Canada? You know, what's up there? You know, all the way down from where you live in Texas, you go up to Ontario, Canada?
We've also discovered that Jabbar made at least 2 trips to New Orleans in the months prior to the attacks. One in October and the other a month later in November.
And that's what we have on those glasses, those videos. And thanks, Lisa Valenzuela. We have 1 Buy Me a Coffee in so far. If you guys want to do that one, that'd be great.
Of 2024. From what we now know, Jabbar stayed at a rental home in New Orleans beginning October 30th, 2024. He was in town at least 2 days. During that time, Jabbar, using Meta glasses, recorded a video as he rode.
You know, it's funny. You guys remember that? You know that picture I put on the original, like this one? Let me show you. That. I was just goofing around when I did that because I found Meta glasses, you know, and I put them on the picture, right? So I see how that's just stupidly, just a dumb little overlay on there, you know? And then it turns out in this video, it's like he looks just like that. It's like Urkel, you know? Look at that. He has that same, I mean, it almost looks like it's the same. Look at that. It was so funny. The glasses that he actually took a picture of himself is that. Is that crazy or what? Yeah.
To the French Quarter on a bicycle. This video shows Jabbar during that trip in October with his meta glasses. As we continue to learn more about that trip, we ask anyone who may have seen or interacted with him to contact us. Now, for more information, meta glasses appear to look like regular glasses, but they allow a user to record videos and photos hand-free. They also allow the user to potentially live stream through their video.
They actually seem pretty cool. Oh, I have to get some of those. See, that's the one that was
Jabbar
recorded
was wearing a pair of meta glasses when he conducted.
Like, this is recorded on the screen at the press conference. So I have the original one that I downloaded from the FBI.
The attack on Bourbon Street. But he did not activate the glasses to live stream his actions that day. Thanks to information that is coming in from the public, we now know Jabbar was here in New Orleans also on November 10th. But we are still piecing together the details of that trip. Moving closer to the day of the attacks,
there we go.
Jabbar is seen on December 31st at one of multiple gun stores he visited in Texas, leading up to the attack. As we go through the timeline, times we provide are approximate. Jabbar then stopped at a business in Texas where he purchased one of the ice chests he would later use to hide the IEDs. Jabbar is estimated to have entered Louisiana.
And there's a lot of people making a deal over his, the same color, like a cooler was seen on the same video that Livelsberger, when it's just the same color and it's sort of off to the right. I don't know. I don't see, I get it, like, oh, okay, wow, but, I don't know what you make of that. It's off to the side when the Tesla is on fire.
On December 31st, 2024, at approximately 2:30 p.m. He rented a vehicle that was seen again in Gonzales, Louisiana, around 9 p.m. on December 31st. By 10 p.m., home camera footage shows Jabbar unloading the white pickup truck in New Orleans outside of the Mandeville Street rental home in the St. Roch neighborhood of New Orleans. Just under 3 hours later, at 12:41 a.m. on New Year's morning, Jabbar parked the truck and walked to Royal and Governor Nichols Street.
What was that? Royal and... Yeah, so that's where, let's see. Yeah, that's Governor Nichols Street. So wherever he parked, and is that Royal right there? It's like something with a D in it. Governor Nichols. Okay, let's see where Royal... Oh, Jesus. I just flew all the way across the country. Can you say, and Royal? Come on, you guys. Not another dead night, you guys. Let's try to reach the goal tonight, please. I don't want 3 nights in a row where we don't get it. So if you have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. Man, it's just such a
Jabbar
struggle.
placed the first IED in the cooler at Bourbon and St. Peter Street at 1:53 a.m. Someone on Bourbon Street, who we have no reason to believe was involved, dragged the cooler a block to Bourbon and Orleans.
That's crazy.
Where our teams found it after the attack. Jabbar placed the second IED in a bucket-type cooler at 2:20 a.m. on Bourbon and Toulouse Streets. In the videos, you see Jabbar wearing the long brown coat we showed you in a photo released earlier. That coat was recovered in the rented F-150. At 3:15 a.m., Jabbar used his pickup truck as a lethal weapon before crashing into the construction equipment and was stopped by the brave men and women of NOPD. Shortly after 5 a.m.
Just a second. Where was the first spot?
At 12:41 a.m. on New Year's morning, Jabbar parked the truck and walked to Royal and Governor Nichols Street. Jabbar placed the first IED in the cooler at Bourbon and St. Peter Street at 1:53 a.m.
All right. Bourbon and St. Peter. Okay, right there. Wow, so he was going to have it blowing up as he was driving. I know what he's doing. He was going to try to escape and then set those off after. Wow, that's pretty clever. So he was right here, and he ran into that that huge truck that was right here, right? Just boom. However, had he got through here, he was going to blow up this one, then get this direction, blow up that one, and cause a whole bunch of confusion, and then get moving. He wanted to survive this thing. You know, that's the only thing that makes sense right there. He was going to use that after he got through this intersection. Amazingly, he crashed here. Had he got around that, he would have set this one off, then went through this intersection and set that one off. And look at that. It goes right back to, I mean, there's other surveillance over here, but I think he was staying right over here at this Airbnb, so he was going to make his way back to that. Wow. See, that's what you get on this channel, you guys. That's what you get on this channel. They're actually figuring stuff out. And, but it'd be great to have the support. All right. Wow. That's crazy. So he parked his car here and he was there. So what was he doing though? Why did he go? Why was he over there is what I need to figure out. And check it out. He was here doing some surveillance at one point. It makes you wonder if he had a second vehicle that was around somewhere that we're not aware of. And they just never haven't found it because it was just parked on the side of a street.
Someone on Bourbon Street, who we have no reason to believe was involved, dragged the cooler a block to Bourbon and Orleans, where our teams found it after the attack. Jabbar placed the second IED in a bucket-type cooler at 2:20.
Frauds and scams are everywhere, from your text message inbox and local gas pumps
Where's that
to
playing
doctors'
from?
offices and dating websites.
Well, that scared the hell out
But you
of me.
don't have to feel powerless against them. On this episode of our podcast, we'll define fraud and the different forms it can take.
Oh, that was just some random video that came up over here. I think it was. No, it was on the FBI page. That's what I was looking at. So I downloaded. They had a 1080. When I first downloaded, it was 720p. Now I've got the 1080p version, so we'll take a look at that after we go through this. Hey, thanks, Alley Cake, and Alley Cake's trying for a wave, everybody. So hopefully, you don't leave Alley Cake hanging.
a.m. on Bourbon and Toulouse Streets. In the videos, you see Jabbar wearing the long brown coat we showed you in a photo released earlier. That coat was recovered in the rented F-150. At 3:15 a.m., Jabbar used his pickup truck as a lethal weapon before crashing into the construction equipment and was stopped by the brave men and women of NOPD.
What's he doing now?
Shortly after 5 a.m., a fire was reported at the rental home in the
Hold on. What's over here? I mean, so the thing that's odd about what he's doing is he's walking like this and then back. And interestingly, he was over here doing some surveillance. Hold on a second. Let me. Okay, there's a mosque up here. I was just wondering if he was maybe doing... So that's not what he was doing. He's going over there. Man, what in the hell was he doing over there? At that time of night. Hey, thanks, Ali Cake, Michelle,
Is there any reason he chose Ball
Danica.
at 3 a.m.?
I got it right.
Being worse at midnight or elsewhere makes no sense.
Is there any reason he chose Bourbon Street at 3 a.m.? Could have been worse at midnight. Or elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think he was trying to... I mean, I think it's... He thought it would be easier to get on there, but there'd still be a lot of people out. You know? Because it's kind of late, and maybe the security wasn't quite the same as it was at the build-up to New Year's, but then there's a lot of stragglers for, you know, hanging out there. And... yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot worse, but he might have not been able to achieve it as well. Thanks, Julie Cole, Madeline Brewer, Michelle Danica, and Ali Cake. What do you guys think about that, though? What is he doing up here? He parked his car somewhere, they said. And then he walked here, and he's kind of moving around over there somewhere. I mean, does anybody know where he was actually staying? Maybe I have the wrong Airbnb up here, right there. Does anybody know the address of where he was staying? In the chat. Maybe if it's right over here, then it all makes sense. Anybody? Man, you guys are like lightning. Yeah, no, it caught fire. I mean, Ada gave me the address, like the first day. They said there was a fire, and that's the address that she gave me right there. I'm just not sure. I guess they bring that up in here. That's something I wanted to look into also.
Mandeville Street location in New Orleans.
Okay, I think that's what I got. Let's see. Okay, so you got that address right there. Let me put it in. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's one I got. All right, thanks. So that is the place he was staying. So what in the hell is he doing over here, you guys? Walking this direction, and then, gosh, how much time later was that when he came back? 12:51, 2:03. And then he walks by again, going that way at 2:07. So his car's off to the left here. So I guess what he could have been, he went all the way into town and then came all the way back, because that's like an hour later. You know, look at 1:12 and then 2:03. He's coming back. Let's see, right there, 2:03. And then at 2:07, he's walking back that direction. But if he's walking that direction, he's leaving his car behind him. So who knows where he went, because he doesn't make it downtown until like 3 something anyways.
After 5 a.m., a fire was reported at the rental home.
Okay, that's what I want. I want that.
Of NOPD. Shortly after 5 a.m., a fire was reported at the rental home in the Mandeville Street location in New Orleans. After 5 a.m., a fire was reported at the rental home in the Mandeville Street location in New Orleans. and the New Orleans Fire Department found explosive devices on scene after entering the home. As we released yesterday, we strongly believe Jabbar was solely responsible for the fire on the Mandeville Street in New Orleans. We determined that he set the fire before heading to Bourbon Street, based on the ATF's investigation. I'd like to bring up Special Agent in charge of the ATF Field Division, Joshua Jackson, to address the details of their investigation and to explain the origin of the IEDs and the materials Jabbar used in them. SAG Jackson.
Thank you. Good morning. As stated, my name is Joshua Jackson. I'm the Special Agent in charge for the New Orleans Field Division, and I want to share with the media some updates regarding the origin and cause of the fire at the Mandeville Street address in New Orleans. We'll update you on information we developed with the firearms that were recovered from the scene, as well as discuss the explosives material that was recovered in Houston and here in New Orleans at the Mandeville Street address. And I'll kind of close out with some comments about our victim witness coordinators. As to the fire, it was determined by the investigators that Jabbar drove from Houston to New Orleans by himself. Throughout his entire time at that rental location in New Orleans, he was the only one seen coming and going from that location. He left that location at 12:15 a.m. the day of the attack, and that's when he set the fire. We know this because at 12:17, the Nest thermostat converted over from heat to cool. Through the whole time and during his stay, the weather had been cold, and the heat was running inside that residence. It changed roughly 2 minutes after he left because the thermostat indicated that the temperature was rising inside the residence, and it tried to keep up with the fire that was growing inside. Let me explain what happened with the fire. He used an open flame in the linen closet area next to the washer and dryer in a closed-off hallway centered into the residence. This hallway leads into different rooms of the house: bedrooms, the front room, the kitchen. Using this open flame in the linen area, this caused the fire to grow. He also set a half gallon of accelerant, gasoline, in a plastic gasoline container in that hallway. He also poured accelerant in different rooms throughout the house. We believe he did this, and his hope was to burn the entire house down and hide evidence of his crimes. As the fire grew in this closed-off area, it eventually ran out of oxygen and fuel, and it smothered itself before it spread to the accelerants that were placed in the other rooms. That's why the house did not burn down. At 5:18, neighbors smelled smoke in the air, and they're the ones who contacted 911, and that's when New Orleans Fire Department showed up at this residence and put out the smoldering fire that was there, and that's when they observed the materials inside the house and contacted FBI and ATF, and we secured that location. As far as the firearms that have been recovered in this investigation, it was a semi-automatic pistol that was used by Jabbar, and it's a semi-automatic rifle. The pistol was a 9mm and the rifle was 308 caliber. Conducting ATF urgent traces, we determined we did make contact with the individual who completed a private sale of the rifle on November 19th, 2024 in Arlington, Texas. This individual, based on our investigation, does not know Jabbar. This was a chance encounter in having this private sale transaction in Texas. There's no way this individual knew that Jabbar was radicalized or had any sort of awareness that this attack was imminent. I also want to preface that private sale transactions like this in Texas are illegal. Additional firearms that were recovered from the scene, and I'm going to call them privately made silencers, and I say that we're calling that because our Firearms Ammunition Technology Division, they still need to make a determination on these devices.
Hey, do you guys want to listen to this? I think I just was downloading the archive fire department audio. That's why you heard a little bit of that in the background. But I guess a minute ago when I said, please help support the channel, everyone. Not one person. Come on, you guys. We can do it tonight. Anyways, it looks like right around in this time frame, which makes sense. It was like 44. That this might be about the time. We could listen to this. This might be where we hear the fire department. All right. Let's see.
Engine 14 in communications, please. Engine 14 in service for all roles.
I don't know, but over here it looks busy. See how that's just really dense?
Engine
14 times 0519.
209. Engine 27.
Excited 444.
227. Rescue 2.
24 rescue.
I think this might be it right.
Call 503.
Right there.
24503. Ladder 13 responding to a medical 7001 Lawrence Road, cross Lake Willow Drive, zone 4037. Ladder 13 responding to a medical 7001 Lawrence, cross Lake Willow, zone 4027. Use the first responder channel. Time is 5:35.
Command 11.
Communications to ladder 13.
Ladder 13 communications, North Carolina service. Yeah, complete the primary rear. There's folks that may be in Canada live at the back of the dwelling.
10-4, I was just trying to see you was less than 10 minutes away in medical 7001 Lawrence Road, cross Lake Willow Drive, zone 4027. Engine 6 responding to a medical 7001 Lawrence, cross Lake Willow, zone 27. Use first responder channel. Time is 5:37.
It's still moving up here.
14506 responding to a person trapped in the elevator, 2950 Porter Street, cross South Peter Street, zone 2047. Engine 14 Engine 14506 responding to a person trapped in the elevator, 2950 Porter cross 5 Peters, zone 2047. Use 5 round 6, time is 5:30.
506
No.
Command 11. Engine 14, 10-4.
Engine 14.
Is everything clear back there? Engine 14 in communications, are you dispatching a rescue unit on this incident?
Yeah, we're working on it right now. All rescue units are on an item. Stand by while I try to look for a squad or a ladder.
Command Engine 27. Command and communication.
Bye, command.
Okay, so I'm going to skip it over to here now. You can see how much denser it is.
Engine 828, Engine 878, respond to a...
Ah. One Adam 12, 1 Adam 12.
Engine 168, Engine 138, Ladder 137, Squad 169, 160,
Wow.
respond to a structure fire, 1917 Bonnie Street, zone 1638. Has a structure fire, 1917 Bonnie Street, cross between Danville Street and Brand Street, zone 1638. Complainant advised, there's a fire that melted the trash can and burned the siding of the house. Fire alarm come out 0540. Letter 807, Engine 818, Engine 828, Engine 878, respond to a fire alarm, 4000 10th Street, zone 8001. It's a fire alarm, 4600 10th Street, Cross Streets, Medical Center Boulevard, and Avenue F, zone 8001.
I don't hear it yet.
It's going to be one Hoven, one apartment, smoke detector, room 515, room 515, fire alarm sent out, 0541.
5807 around.
Copy, letter 807.
Engine 828 route. Continue everybody in until we have somebody there to verify.
Copy, Engine 168.
Engine 138 en route.
Copy, Engine 138 en route.
137 en route.
Copy, letter 137 en route.
What's it here en route? Letter 807 on scene, multi-story complex. We'll be investigating.
Copy, letter 807 on scene, multi-story complex, not investigating.
878 route.
Copy, Engine 878. Engine 8 responding to an investigation, 2204 Murray Street is zone 3025. Engine 8 responding to an investigation, 2204 Murray Street crosses Mahogany Street. Zone 3025, East 59, time 0543.
The complainant advised that the fire is out. Copy, squad 169.
What was that one?
Copy. Continue everybody in until we have somebody there to verify.
Copy, engine 168.
Engine 138 en route.
Copy, engine 138 en route.
137 en route.
Copy, ladder 137 en route.
Ladder 807 on scene, multi-story complex. We'll be investigating.
Copy, ladder 807 on scene, multi-story complex.
I wonder if that one that was out was
Copy, engine 878.
Engine 8 responding to an investigation, 2204 Marie Street in zone 3025. Engine 8 responding to an investigation, 2204 Marie Street.
07 investigating from 515.
Copy, ladder 807 and get investigate room 515.
21 responding to medical, 1500 Bancroft Drive in zone 7026. 21 responding to medical, 5800 Bancroft Drive, crosses Princess Avenue in zone 7026. Use first responder Shauna, time 0545.
Copy. 515-807, cook itself for 1, Julio 7, return our levels.
I don't know. I can't really hear it in there, so I saved that out. We'll check it out later. People don't seem that interested in it, so let's keep going.
To ensure that they actually reduce the sound of a firearm to a degree that it can be technically classified as a silencer. But for the ease of public consumption, for you all to understand what was recovered, was a privately made silencer on the rifle that Jabbar was using in an attempt to muffle the sound of that rifle as he fired it. We also recovered a privately made silencer inside the Mandeville Street address along with the explosives material. Now, there's been reports in the media about the explosive material that was recovered. That is something that is only found overseas. I want to provide more information. The explosive material recovered at the Mandeville Street address was field tested by a chemical identifier by bomb techs with ATF and FBI. This is a field test. Tested as R salt. R salt is very similar in look, texture, and chemical makeup as RDX, which is all readily common and available right here in the United States. These same field tests were done in Houston at Jabbar's residence, and that tested as true RDX. The FBI lab will conduct additional tests of this material, which we believe will turn out to be commonly found explosives right here in the United States. Now, what is different about this device that is somewhat unique, and it goes more to the inexperience of Jabbar. Our salt in RDX, typically you need a detonator to set it off. He did not have access to a detonator, so he used an electric match in its place to try to set off the explosive material. That is the only thing that's unique about the IEDs. IEDs themselves, how they were designed, functioned, something that our bomb techs with ATF and FBI have seen. It's not novel. What was different is he didn't use the correct device to set it off, and that is just indicative of his inexperience and lack of understanding how that material might be set off. Last comments are very important. I know that victims and family, that is the focus. That's why we're doing this job. That's why we're going, spending hours and surging resources. ATF has victim witness coordinators that are working hand in hand with all the victim resource specialists, and they're going to remain on the ground, engaged throughout services as we continue to engage and connect with the victims and the families. So our thoughts and prayers remain with them. Our focus and our energy remain with them in the city of New Orleans. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to SAC Myrtle.
If you take out Amber Maiden's super chat, we'd be at 1/8 again of a nightly goal.
Thank you, SAC
Amazing,
Jackson.
you guys. Was it that bad in here?
When incidents like this happen, obviously the criminal investigation is important. But the FBI never loses sight of the devastating impact on victims and their families. Helping them navigate the unthinkable is a task that we take on with a number of local, state, and federal partners. It's a task that started within hours of the attack. The work done by these professionals is done behind the scenes, as to not re-traumatize the people who did not ask to be part of this dark day in history. Today, our victim services response team and those very important partners are opening a family assistance center, which is a centralized location where victims and their loved ones can receive in-person information and assistance. Thank you, Mayor. We want to sincerely thank the public for all the information.
I don't know if you guys want to hear the answer question. I don't really need to hear that again. Yeah, let me get rid of this. All right, guys, so here we are doing another nightly show, and as I always say, every single night, I let you guys know over and over and over and over and over again that my channel relies on your guys' generosity, tipping the channel, appreciating the work and stuff. I do these shows every single night, putting out information, and that's the only way to keep the channel going, because even if you see ads during the show, when the show's over, they say, oh, it's demonetized. So if you have the ability to help support the channel any way at all, like, pretend you're at Starbucks or something and you're just doing $2 or $5 or $10 or whatever the hell you want to do, that's the only way to do it. We've been doing that for 5 years here, and unfortunately, for some unknown reason, maybe it's the time of year or whatever, this year is different than other years. Or this, the last 6 months have been a absolute, it's difficult. Okay, so if you have the ability to, I would appreciate your support. I don't know what else to say. I can't make money just appear out of the air. It takes people wanting to help to do it. All right, so let's see, is this one the bigger one? Yeah, I think that might be it. So I just downloaded this one, and I think it's much bigger. Yeah, look at that. So let me make a whole new sequence here. Yeah, there we go. So now this should be a lot even clearer than the previous one. Anybody here? It's just... Yeah, so I was able to find these spots by looking at these different signs. And this first one is right here. Yeah, that's it. It's like you gotta get the right spot, or you get somebody's random 360-degree video. There you go. So there's that. If you rewind the video a little bit, it's right there, that sign. Hey, thanks, Jim Nething. Must be the only one that heard what I said.
Smiley face.
Scary times, scary times. So there's that, and then he obviously kind of went down here, and then he stopped recording. But I think he's walking in this one. Jim Nething's actually probably one of the oldest school people around. Meaning like he was here a long time ago. All right, so then this is number 2 here. And obviously now he's on a bike because we just saw his hands. And that number 2 area is, let's see, right here. So this is getting close to where he was seen. And interestingly, he's actually on, amazingly, on Governor Nichols Street. Right here, when he makes that turn. So what is it on that street? You know, even when he was there for his other trips, did he park there? I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? So right there, and then he turns. So wow, that's what is in this area here? Thanks, Brian Meadows. There's something right here. I feel like I got to put a pin, like a circle or something. It feels like there's something right in this area. I don't know. Thanks, Brian Meadows. So look at that. In that little surveillance trip he took, he was on that very same street, and then he turns and he goes this direction. So that's what this is right here. And see that green building? If I go right down the street view, see, you can even see it. That's the green building. And interestingly, the way I found this one was cool because I didn't have, there's no names of anything here. You know, like, I guess I could have gone down. Well, I wouldn't know because you're just watching the video. Okay, so when you're watching this video here, you can't see, there's no businesses on the street. But look in the background over there, you guys. You see that, like, almost like the Twin Towers way in the background? You see that? Well, watch. That's what I was doing. But before I even knew what street to look at, this is what I did. Watch. I went and looked at the city, and I said, oh, there you go. There's the Twin Towers. But I was over here like this, and I realized you can't see the Twin Towers looking down a street like that, right? So then I went over to the street that, yes, that street you can see the two buildings on from. So I went down to the ground, and then I looked up, and I saw, okay, wow, okay, I'm on the right street now. See, there's the video, and there's those two buildings. All right, and then I just went up and I went back as far as I could, etc. On the street, and then eventually, so I found the green building, which is right here. So if you go down to the ground, and there's the green building up on the left here, and then that's what that is. See, isn't that cool, you guys? That's how I do it. Definitely super chat worthy, don't you think? Hey, thanks, Brian Meadows. Love you watching your content. Very informative, always. Yeah, makes sense. That's what I try to figure out. And I don't know if were you here a few minutes ago when we actually found where he put the pipe bombs seems to be exactly the route that he was going to escape on and then blow up, set them off as he was driving by, and then creating a diversion as well as killing other people. And then he probably was going to make his way back. I think there's another vehicle somehow. I don't know why I think that. It just, there's something that makes me think there's another vehicle. Like he was going to get out of that one, get in another one, and drive away. And that vehicle likely could still be just sitting on a street, and they haven't found the rental portion of or how he got it. Look at that weirdo. What a psycho. It's weird how like dead it gets super chat wise these days. It's just, it almost feels like it's an intentional like slap in the face or something. I don't know what's going on, you guys. I have no clue. I'm doing my same shows, you know. So there you go, there you go. Like it's the troll community is like, hey, let's punish Gray. No idea. Look at how he's waving at something. So he's like, hey, hey, hey. Now is he doing that to sort of make people look at him instead of the box thing he left on the ground? Or is there somebody else out there? I don't know. They do in some cases. And I think in Delphi they definitely watched my videos. And I know they have in other one case specifically they used to they watched during the Madison Bell. So look at that, 203 is walking back, and that's the same street that he is on that bike on surveillance. Does he know somebody out on this street here? That's interesting. And then what we were figuring out a minute ago, if he just got here, was this right here, the coolers. So check it out. He's zipping down. So we've seen it right here. He's driving down the street and he goes around the barrier, just like this, around the barrier onto the sidewalk. Then he comes, zipping down here. People diving. The redheaded girl that just escaped is right down in there. And then he drove down here, mowing people over. Then his car smashed into a crane right here. And he got out, and then he was killed by the police. But he intended to go through this intersection, I believe, and then was going to set off right, like at this location, he was going to zip through this intersection, and then right here, he was going to set off the bombs, and maybe he was even going to turn there, but he'd still set off the bomb, diverting attention there, and then there was one here, so that's what makes me believe he intended to be able to keep driving, and then right when he was going to get through the St. Louis and Bourbon Street intersection, he was going to detonate that one behind him, and then he was going to detonate this one, and there'd be all kinds of chaos going around. And, isn't it also interesting? Oh, I guess it's right here, the cooler there and a cooler there. So, God, that's so crazy. So this is where he was doing his surveillance footage. But look at this. His body's here, and then he actually took on surveillance, his first surveillance shot. He drove like this, so he knew that he was going to go down the street here. And then the cooler is here, so he was going to go through that and then set off this one. So both those coolers would be set off. Then after he passed, then he was going to head on over, all the way over to his Airbnb over here. Because now he has his vehicle and he's done. And I don't know if he's going to go back to the Airbnb or what, because it was set to start burning. I guess it was already on fire during the time he was there. But man, isn't it crazy that on one of those surveillance shots, he's walking like this, and then he comes back. Did he walk all the way down here a couple times to check on things? I don't remember what time they said that the cooler was placed. Let me go back. I think we could find it.
In the cooler at Bourbon and St. Peter Street.
Oh, he's about to.
Jabbar placed the first IED in the cooler at Bourbon and St. Peter Street at 1:53 a.m.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right, so we gotta do this again. This one is at 1:53. So that means it's in between. So where was he keeping this? See, that's what's interesting, right? Think about that for a minute. Where was he keeping the backpack? Because when he's walking over here, let's go back up to those times. Now let's listen to the time of the next one.
Someone on Bourbon Street, who we have no reason to believe was involved, dragged the cooler a block to Bourbon and Orleans, where our teams found it after the attack. Jabbar placed the second IED in a bucket-type cooler at 2:20 a.m. on Bourbon and Toulouse Streets. In the videos, you see Jabbar wearing the long brown coat we showed you.
Well, what time was that, though?
Jabbar placed the second IED in a bucket-type cooler at 2:20 a.m.
Oh, 2:20. Oh, wow, there we go. Jeez, okay, now things are going to even be crazier. Makes sense. This one's the 2:28 one. (2:28 a.m.) He's heading southeast at 112. Okay, now 203. He's heading 2:03 a.m. heading northwest. And 207, maybe I'll just put 208. Wait, 208. What was he doing at 208? Should be heading back that, there you go. He's kind of rushing too. Alright. So, wow, okay, now we have these other times right over here. So that means that at 112, when he was heading this direction, he did something where he eventually made it down here and put the, here, I gotta change the terms on here, pipe bomb He placed it down here. Then he walked all the way, that was 153. And then he came back up here and was seen going this direction. So what he probably did was right after he put the bomb there, he literally walked up as fast as he could, up into this area, and then took a left. And then he's walking by here at 203. And then what? He goes back to his car again in his jacket. And then at 208, he's going this direction. And then after 208, at 228, he makes his way all the way to here and puts a second device. And then I think he goes back to his car and, you know, starts his rampage. But isn't that wild, you guys? Like, that actually shows you now that he was up here and he makes it here. But where did he get the cooler and the other container? You see what I'm saying? Like, after this, did he have a place over here where somebody exists where he was able to pick up those items? Because it's almost like he parked his car over here somewhere. Unless his car is here, but then why did he walk that direction? You know, what made him walk that way? Do you guys get it? Alright guys, if you're out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate your support. Maybe buy channel memberships or the coffee. We've only got one coffee tonight. We've only got one person that bought memberships. We've only got, we're currently still sitting at like not even 50% again. So if you have the ability to, I'd appreciate it. That's all I can say. So right here at 112, he's here. And then 40 minutes later, he's down here and he leaves a bomb, pipe bombs. And then he walks quickly back up here because at 203, he's going this way, almost like he's going back to his car to get something. But he doesn't have the coolers or anything. And then he goes back this direction at 208. So it was like 5 minutes over here doing whatever. Then 208, he's going this direction. And then just 20 minutes after that, he's placing another pipe bomb over here. I don't know, Julie Cole. It's just like beating my head against the wall. Didn't used to be that way. This is Google Maps. $153. Okay. Put my finger on the... I'm getting directions really quick. Yeah. I just lost it. It's right... There it is, right here. That should be right here. St. Peter's Street in Bourbon. So from there to wow, thanks Becky S. Very kind, very kind. I mean, I'm hoping there's people just do, something. But there you go. We got 2 of those tonight. Very kind, very kind. Do I have the, do I have it on? I want to hear that. Yeah, it should be. Let's see if we can hear it go. Okay, I'm just trying to get this on a map here. Right here. There we go. So look at that. Look how amazing that is, you guys. Yeah, I'm hoping to get the avocado on here. So look at that. Look at that right there. That's a 9-minute walk. Watch this. 9 minutes. 153 plus 9 minutes is what? It's 2:02, right? Guess what? He walks by right here at 2:03. Pretty damn close. And I'm using, rounding around. So that means he walked right there, right after that, and did something. I'm not sure why it's not, I'm not sure what the delay is on here, but thanks again, Becky S. Makes a big difference. Still at like 60%. What's the intersection again where you can see between buildings? What do you mean? No, I mean this one over here where I could see the two twin tower kind of. That is Governor, whatever the hell that is. Governor Nichols Street and oh yeah, I had it. Just a second. And Royal Street. Governor Nickel and Royal. And there, I think it feels like there's something in this circle here where he was able to store things or, something of that nature. I don't know what he's doing with the wave. It's either he's waving at somebody, waving a cab down, waving at somebody, or he's diverting people, making people look up at his head because he's waving high and people are looking up high and him waving his hand while right below his feet he's going to be leaving the pipe bomb and didn't want anybody to see it. It's also a 10-minute walk if he takes this one. So from here, if he walked, but he didn't do that. He didn't do that. Because he walked that direction and he would go down, he was going down Bourbon Street. So it's 9 minutes. Isn't that amazing though? How it's just perfect timing. Hey, thanks so much, Madeline Brewer. Let me put this one on the screen. Becky S. I'm not sure why there's no audio from the... Maybe there's a secondary one that... I don't know. Weird. Not sure why it's not working. I wanted to hear that though. And thank you very much, Madeline Brewer. Very kind. Another vehicle with his stuff. Yeah, well, he had his truck, but I'm wondering if there's a secondary vehicle that he then, because it would be really risky for him to drive the truck and then still be driving away in this big truck. It almost feels like there's a little sedan that's parked on a side street right now that he never made it back to. I wouldn't be shocked at all if there's a little sedan that had a cooler in it, but I'm not sure why he would go back to his vehicle each time. Did he? I don't know. I don't know. Right. Well, he was drawing attention to his hand up in the air. I don't know what the hell he was doing. He thought maybe if he just left it there and walked away, somebody might go, "Hey, that's weird. What's that guy?" But then he has his hand up in the air and looks like he's just a regular dude waving at somebody, and then they're looking up in the air, not noticing the cooler below him, like a diversionary tactic of some sort. I don't know, you guys. This is I love that now that there's more of this type of information out here. This is sort of my forte here. So I guess what we could do is do something like this, where he walks from here, and then he likely, on this night, went down Bourbon Street, and then he, let's see, when did he walk by that first time? Yeah, so it was at 1:12 he went this direction. So where did he go first? But then eventually he makes his way to here, which is actually only a 9-minute walk to get there. So we're missing, gosh, I don't know, 25 minutes or something. So where was he? So you have that one. Then, after that, he walks from down here, up here, and then he comes by right here at 2:03, which is exactly the amount of time that you would expect him to take. All right. Then at 2:08, he's gone for 5 minutes doing something. Maybe he goes back to his truck now. Then after that, don't want that one. At 2:08, he goes from here, and then he makes his way down to this one at 2:28, so there's missing time again, because that would have only taken about 11 or 12 minutes. Yeah. So we got that one. I guess that one's covered. The red one's underneath there. Yeah, but it feels like there's something over here. And interestingly, one of his surveillance bike trips took him right here. Just like that, on the same Governor Nichols Street. They should ban coolers. That's a good one, Lynn. That's a good one. Oh yeah, ban those damn coolers. I tell you what, they'll get you every time. So then was his plan not to, I think he meant to get away, you guys. I do. I think he absolutely meant to. I'm not sure why that circle's there. Doesn't exist on the screen. But he meant to get away. So after he placed these two pipe bombs, 153, 228 on Bourbon Street, by the way, he then gets in his vehicle and he makes his way down here. So here's what's interesting, you guys, is he likely parked over here somewhere. Then he drove his vehicle like this, and I bet you he even went right to his little surveillance that he did before on Nichols and Royal Street, took a right, drove all the way down here like this. Let's see, kept going. Let's see, is that Nichols? Yeah, so Nichols right here, all the way down till he got to here. And I think you can, yeah, so that's Nichols, right? Nichols takes a right, and then boom, starts busting up here. And his car actually crashed, his truck crashed right there. He didn't want it to do that, though. He meant to continue going like that. And then once he was going to still keep killing people all the way here. Then once he got through this intersection of Toulouse Street and Bourbon Street, he was going to set off the first pipe bomb as he drove by. Boom! Then all these people are over here. Then after he went through this one, boom, he's going to blow up that one. Then he makes his way back up here, and then I think that might be where perhaps he sets his own vehicle on fire, gets into that other vehicle that maybe is in the same area, and he drove away. Doesn't that make a hell of a lot of sense, you guys? Doesn't that make sense? Other second car. Yeah. I don't know if, I mean, it's possible he was just going to keep taking that vehicle, but, the place he was staying is right here too. So he's heading in that direction, but he'd already set that place on fire. So he wasn't going back to the Airbnb, right? He put it on a slow burn just before he started the incident. And what's kind of interesting about this is I think he meant to, here's what I think. I think he set that fire way before it was reported. I bet he set it around 1:30 or 2, hoping to draw fire department and other people to this area while he's going this way, but instead it like smoldered and wasn't really doing much, so it never really created the same diversion. He wanted to have a diversion over here so that he could go all the way down here, commit what he was going to do, and where was he going to go after he got into his vehicle? Just get on one of these highways right here, Highway 10 perhaps, get the hell out of there. Don't know. I just doubt he would stay in his Ford F-150, the electric one. Don't you think that seems a little strange? Like, why would you do that when it's just this obvious massive truck that everybody would look at? I think that he, just now I'm just looking at it again, this fire was reported at 5 in the morning, but he obviously never made it back to the house, right? So was that on a timer for later, or was it something he set as he left, hoping that there'd be people working that area while he made his way down this way, drawing some officers and fire department over here. They believe 12 something just when he left. Oh, they said 12 something? 12 something just when he left. They believed it was smoldering as the central control went. Yeah, let's go back to that again. Let's see if that makes sense now, because I don't remember that part. Yeah, let's listen to that. I think it was this guy, right?
And the New Orleans Fire Department found explosive devices on scene after.
Okay, that's the part.
That coat was recovered in the rented F-150.
So that coat was in the rented F-150. Jesus.
At 3:15 a.m., Jabbar used his pickup truck as a lethal weapon before crashing.
Right, so then you look at it like 2:28. So check it out. 2:28, he's still walking down here, right? So to get back up there, remember it takes, I bet from here 11 minutes. So that means at 2:39, he's up here, and then he's probably doing final preparations. And then at 3:15, he gets down here and makes that turn and goes quickly up here and then just crashed here. Luckily, he was going to go through that intersection, this intersection, and then start setting off pipe bomb and that intersection. Well, I guess he'd set a pipe bomb off, but still killing people as he went, and then another pipe bomb here, and then people would just be like, "Oh my God!" And amongst the rubble, basically he's driving away.
Into the construction equipment and was stopped by the brave men and women of NOPD.
Right, so he crashed into the construction equipment. He didn't mean to do that.
Shortly after 5 a.m., a fire was reported at the rental home in the Mandeville Street location in New Orleans. And the New Orleans Fire Department found explosive devices on scene after entering the home. As we released yesterday, we strongly believe Jabbar was solely responsible for the fire on the Mandeville Street in New Orleans. We determined that he set the fire before heading to Bourbon Street, based on the ATF's investigation.
Oh, well, that's perfect. That matches what I was just thinking. I didn't even remember that.
I'd like to bring up Special Agent in charge of the ATF Field Division, Joshua Jackson, to address the details of their investigation and to explain the origin of the IEDs and the materials Jabbar used in them. SHE Jackson.
Thank you. Good morning. As stated, my name is Joshua Jackson. I'm the Special Agent in charge for the New Orleans Field Division, and I want to share with the media some updates regarding the origin and cause of the fire at the Mandeville Street address in New Orleans. We'll update you on information we developed with the firearms that were recovered from the scene, as well as discuss the explosives material that was recovered in Houston and here in New Orleans at the Mandeville Street address. And I'll kind of close out with some comments about our...
Hey, thanks for the coffees from Lisa Valenzuela, Ali Cake, Jim Neving, all right, and Julie Cole, thank you.
Our victim witness coordinators. As to the fire, it was determined by the investigators that Jabbar drove from Houston to New Orleans by himself. Throughout his entire time at that rental location in New Orleans, he was the only one seen coming and going from that location. He left that location at 12:15 a.m. the day of the attack, and that's when he set the fire.
Boom. God, that's so crazy. I didn't just totally miss that the first time. All right, so let's put that on the map too. All right, so the Airbnb right here. See, isn't that weird when you just use sort of the information that's available and common sense? It just 12:15 a.m. sets fire and doesn't return. So he was not going to return, obviously, after he left, right? I mean, that just is exactly the reality of it. You knew once the fire was going, he never made it back there to set the fire, so therefore he had to have set the fire before he even parked his car to set the pipe bombs, right? I guess you could argue that he drove back in that certain amount of time, but I don't think, it doesn't make sense logistically. Yeah, my mom still has an AOL account, Julie Cole. Yeah. Your mind is on so much putting this all together, hence missing what part? I didn't miss a part. Let's see. I got it right without even knowing that it was in there. Anyways, hey, let's see. What do we got? I just always kept it. Hey, thanks, Jim Neving. So there you go. You got the 12:15. He sets the fire here. And then at 1:12 he's over here, so about an hour later he's parked his car over here, and he's hoping that that car is up in a blaze that house is blazing away over there to draw police officers and fire department away from the scene. And it's 3 a.m, so that even makes it would make it clearer for him, even though it's 3 a.m. and there probably isn't the same coverage there was right around midnight. So look at this. He's right here at 1:12. And then there's something over in this area where he was able to get a cooler and the pipe bombs, because he's walking this way. Now, if he parked over here, then why did he walk over here? So to me, it seems like he parked somewhere over here and he's walking this direction. And so he grabs whatever he's getting. That's at 1:12, he's up there. And then at 1:53, places that first pipe bomb. And then, now he's got it in his mind. Okay, I know exactly where, I got it all figured out. It looks good. So he finally got this one dropped at 1:53, and then it's a 9-minute walk. And that would be 2:02 a.m. But he gets here at 2:03, totally reasonable. He gets here at 2:03, walking this direction, going back to where his truck is over here. Then at 2:08, he's heading this way again. And this time it's quicker than the first time, but he makes it down here at 2:28. So that would be a 20-minute walk with just about, it should have only taken another 2 minutes, so 11 minutes. So, there's 9 minutes of missing time where he, put something in that can that he was carrying around, whatever the hell it was, and he places it here, okay? Then he makes his way back up to his vehicle by like 2:45 or so, 2:44, gets up there and, just kind of doing his last preparations, etc. Then he probably leaves up here at about 3:10, and then I think he likely drove down the same street that he scouted, right here, Royal Street. So he drove this way, and he goes down Royal Street in the pickup truck, all the way down Royal Street, and then right here, he takes a right, and then boom, just guns it up the street here. And then he's going up the street, and he made it through this block, that block, and he killed 14 people. Then he smashed into a construction site that he didn't mean to do, because there'd be no reason to set these 2 pipe bombs. Law enforcement isn't telling you in these interviews is that he didn't get the opportunity to. People are wondering, well, how come he didn't set them off? Because he didn't get to where he had a reason for it. He was right here. He was going to go through this next block mowing down people. Then he was going to go through the next block and mow down people. And then right after he got through Toulouse Street, he was going to ignite the first pipe bomb right there, creating a problem. There'd be people being hit by it, a diversion, and then he's going to go through up this block, he'd take out as many more people as he can, and then right through that intersection, set off the next pipe bomb, and there'd be all kinds of chaos behind him as he drives away. And then when he gets up here, perhaps he has another vehicle. This is just my theory, sort of in this area up here. He gets in, he would have got into that vehicle and drove away, and people would be looking for a Ford F-150, and it was in the other vehicle that he stored the cooler and the other container that he used. God, that makes sense. That is crazy, you guys. You know what I'm saying? I know, FBI, I know. I figured it out. Don't worry about it. Hey, thanks, Richard Watts. I'll try to enjoy the coffee, Jim Nething. So what do you guys think of that? I might have to make a YouTube video, but except problem is only about 9 people would watch it. No, they said the ones he had would work. He just didn't have the normal ones, right? I heard that part, but they didn't say they weren't going to work. They just said he didn't have the normal ones. Hey, KK, what's going on? RA, they said he... Yeah, so let's go up, let's listen to that some more.
We know this because at 12:17, the Nest thermostat converted over from heat to cool. Through the whole time and during his stay, the weather had been cold, and the heat was running inside that residence.
That's pretty cool investigation. Like a fire started. Now check out the thermostat. It's automatic. Okay, look at that. It started to try to cool the place because the heat from the fire was warming it up. So now they have this exact time.
It changed roughly 2 minutes after he left because the thermostat indicated that the temperature was rising inside the residence, and it tried to keep up with the fire that was growing inside. Let me explain what happened with the fire.
Thanks, Michelle Wood.
He used an open flame in the linen closet area next to the washer and dryer in a closed-off hallway centered into the residence. This hallway leads into different rooms of the house, bedrooms, the front room, the kitchen. Using this open flame in the linen area, this caused the fire to grow. He also set a half gallon of accelerant, gasoline, and a plastic gasoline container in that hallway. He also poured accelerant in different rooms throughout the house.
Let's go back and listen to this. What's that again?
Closet area next to the washer and dryer and a closed-off hall. We know this because at 12:17, the Nest thermostat converted over from heat to cool. Through the whole time and during his stay, the weather had been cold.
No, he did.
Was
say
running
he wanted to get out of
that
there.
residence. It changed roughly 2 minutes after he.
You know how we know that, Sandy? You know how we know you're wrong? Is because why did he set fire to that house? That's the first moment where I realized, wow, he wanted to live. You know, why would he set fire to that house? He wouldn't care if he died. You know, then he knows that if he died, they'd figure out who he was. They'd just look. You know, he's got ID. You just look at him. You know who he is. They'd be able to track it down. He thought he was going to get away with it, so he tried to set that house on fire and burn it. And so they wouldn't be able to track and figure out who he was.
He left because the thermostat indicated that the temperature was rising inside the residence, and it tried to keep up with the fire that was growing inside. Let me explain what happened with the fire. He used an open flame in the linen closet area next to the washer and dryer.
Yeah, but he was just going to leave the truck somewhere and get into his vehicle.
Dryer and a closed-off hallway centered into the.
Yeah, I mean, he just wanted to get away, is what I'm saying.
Residence. This hallway leads into different rooms of the house: bedrooms, the front room, the kitchen. Using this open flame in the linen area, this caused the fire to grow. He also set a half gallon of accelerant, gasoline, in a plastic gasoline container in that hallway.
I mean, I guess I don't absolutely know. I mean, what Sandy's saying isn't totally, you know. I just feel like, why is he caring then about burning down the Airbnb he was staying in? I keep missing what this is saying as I'm reading comments. But hey, guys, if we do $50 more tonight, we'll make it to the point where I donate the 5 memberships. All right, so that's the goal.
In the linen closet area next to the washer and dryer, and a closed-off hallway centered into the residence. This hallway leads into different rooms of the house: bedrooms, the front room, the kitchen.
So he's just. I don't mean to keep rewinding. I just want to get the whole detail.
Let me explain what happened with the fire. He used an open flame in the linen closet area next to the washer and dryer, and a closed-off hallway centered into the residence. This hallway leads into different rooms of the house: bedrooms, the front room, the kitchen. Using this open flame in the linen area, this caused the fire to grow. He also set a half gallon of accelerant, gasoline, in a plastic gasoline container in that hallway. He also poured accelerant in different rooms throughout the house.
That was going to explode.
We believe he did this, and his hope was to burn the entire house down and hide evidence of his crimes.
Exactly.
As the fire grew in this closed-off area, it eventually ran out of oxygen and fuel, and it smothered itself before it spread to the accelerants that were placed in the other rooms.
I just got to get that last.
Accelerant in different rooms throughout the house. We believe he did this, and his hope was to burn the entire house down and hide evidence of his crimes. As the fire grew in this closed-off area, it eventually ran out of oxygen and fuel, and it smothered itself before it spread to the accelerants that were placed in the other rooms. That's why the house did not burn down.
Yeah, why did he seal off the area? Jesus.
At 5:18, neighbors smelled smoke in the air, and they're the ones who contacted 911. And
I just said we're 50 short of me giving away the 5 memberships. We haven't reached that number for 2 days in a row now, so I was hoping to get there.
That's when New Orleans Fire Department showed up at this residence and put out the smoldering fire that was there, and that's when they observed the materials inside the house and contacted FBI and ATF, and we secured that location.
Wow.
As far as the firearms that have been recovered in this investigation, it was a semi-automatic.
I think these 2 guys on this press conference are awesome. I mean, they are just like, you know, giving you a lot of information. They might have more information, but they're not going to share like investigative, like a lead that they're having. But they're giving us like really pretty amazing stuff, really detailed level. I hope it kind of continues like this underneath, like with Trump in there, because he wants there to be a lot more transparency and stuff. Because the FBI, for a while now, it's just been. I mean, look at Christopher Wray during the Trump assassination hearings, and the Secret Service leadership. I mean, what a joke those people are in those press conferences and their hearings. It's like they don't even know anything about anything they're supposed to know about. You know.
Pistol that was used by Jabbar and is a semi-automatic rifle. Pistol was a 9mm and the rifle was .308 caliber. Conducting ATF.
Don't you think it's another coincidence? Don't you think it's interesting that he had a pistol and a .308 rifle, and then you've got Livelsberger, who purchased again, right before the whole thing, a pistol and a rifle. He didn't even use them. And neither of them used them. Like, neither one of the two people used the weapons, and but they both bought a pistol and a rifle. And they both rented electric vehicles. And they use the same app to rent both of them. But, the thing is they're not the same type of... that one comment that somebody made in here early on was that maybe these people were on a forum somewhere where they're kind of down and out soldiers or something, and there's somebody that was communicating with them, totally different idea, different sort of tactics or whatever the hell they're going to do, but use sort of some of the stuff that was similar, because it's so weird to have that many similarities. Yeah, it doesn't matter if where he was born or anything like that. But come on, you guys, let's do it. Let's get the 5 memberships. We were the first night in 3 that we were able to do it.
ATF urgent traces, we determined we did make contact with the individual who completed a private sale of the rifle on November 19th, 2024 in Arlington, Texas. This individual, based on our investigation, does not know Jabbar. This was a chance encounter in having this private sale transaction in Texas. There's no way this individual knew that Jabbar was radicalized or had any sort of awareness that this attack was imminent. I also want to preference that private sale transactions like this in Texas are legal.
Thanks, Ali K.
Additional firearms that were recovered from the scene, and I'm going to call them privately made silencers, and I say that we're calling that because our Firearms Ammunition Technology Division, they still need to make a determination on these devices to ensure that they actually reduce the sound of a firearm to a degree that it can be technically classified as a silencer. But for the ease of public consumption, for you all to understand what was recovered was a privately made silencer on the rifle that Jabbar was using in an attempt to muffle the sound of that rifle as he fired it.
All right, 45 more to go.
We also recovered a privately made silencer inside the Mandeville Street address, along with the explosives material. Now, there's been reports in the media about the explosive material that was recovered. That is something that is only found overseas. I want to provide more information. The explosive material recovered at the Mandeville Street address.
It says Mandalay, like Mandalay Bay. Yeah. Was
field tested by a chemical identifier by bomb techs with ATF and FBI. This is a field test.
You can buy that liquid. First, I put like, I think it was RTX or something, and on the live stream I said, "Wow, it's $30,000! Holy crap!" But it was the RTX vehicle that popped up. That was on the premiere, I mean, not the live.
Tested as R-Salt. R-Salt is very similar in look, texture, and chemical makeup as RDX, which is all readily common and available right here in the United States. These same field tests were done in Houston at Jabbar's residence, and that tested as true RDX. The FBI lab will conduct additional tests of this material, which we believe will turn out to be commonly found explosives right here in the United States. Now, what is different about this device that is somewhat unique, and it goes more to the inexperience.
But he said it was unique, meaning they didn't say it didn't work. He said it was unique.
Of Jabbar. Our assault in RDX, typically you need a detonator to set it off. He did not have access to a detonator, so he used an electric match in its place to try to...
So he said typically needs a detonator to set it off, but he used a, like, what do you call it?
Assault in RDX, typically you need a detonator to set it off.
Typically need a detonator.
He did not have access to a detonator, so he used an electric match in its place to try to set off the explosive material. That is the only thing that's unique about the IEDs. IEDs themselves...
Right. See, it's unique. He didn't say it didn't work, though. So I think I think they probably think that it would work.
How they were designed.
And I don't even know if that makes him inexperienced. It means that he went out and got what he could get instead of, like a detonator. Where do you get those? The military?
Functioned, something that our bomb techs with ATF and FBI have seen. It's not novel. What was different is he didn't use the correct device to set it off, and that is just indicative.
Okay, so when he's saying right there, that could mean that he didn't use the right device to set it off, meaning that could mean that it wouldn't work in that one, the way he's wording that.
Indicative of his inexperience and lack of understanding how that.
So in that, but he still placed them there for the same reason.
Material might be set off. Last comments are very important. I know that victims and family, that is the focus. That's why we're doing this job. That's why we're going, spending hours and surging resources. ATF has victim witness coordinators that are working hand in hand with all the victim resource specialists, and they're going to remain on the ground, engaged throughout services as we continue to engage and connect with the victims and the families. So our thoughts and prayers remain with them. Our focus and our energy remain with them in the city of New Orleans. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to SAC Myrtle.
All right, so let's just watch the. This is the high resolution 1080p version of the surveillance. What does that say right there? Sphere or something. Starts with something versus sphere. Square versus sphere. Starts with, I don't know, something like that. Maybe it's like a play on words, like versus sphere or something. I don't know. Start, stop, and restart services in the vSphere web client. Okay, I guess that's a web client. So vSphere stop, start, or restart services on. See, that's not what that says. But anyways, that's what that is. Like a web. $45 more to go, you guys, and I'll give away the 5 memberships. Or 35, I guess, now. So we showed where all these were on the map. So he's doing surveillance there, back in October, and I can't remember the other month, they said. Is anybody here? It's like there's only one comment after Amber's comment like 10 minutes ago. Come on, you guys. I gotta get a pair of those glasses. Those are pretty sweet. All right, well, comment, you guys. Have a conversation with everybody. What do you mean keep going? I'm explaining more towards the end of QA regarding his IEDs that Gray posted earlier. I do have the question and answering portion if you guys want to listen to that. Yeah, so that's him. He's still wearing that same coat that we see in those other surveillance shots, but we have the timing down now. We just don't know where he is for certain portions of time. But where did he get that cooler, for example? See, he was walking away from his vehicle and everything. Where did the cooler come from? And that cooler there was placed at 153. And I guess that's it right there. And then he starts waving at something. Yeah, it's almost like it could be like he's signaling to somebody. Like, hey, this one's set now, you guys. I don't know. I mean, pretty weird. And then he's got this. Where did he get this thing? There it is. Yep. That's where he was standing. Right there, next to that garbage can. I think anyways. Let me look down below. I don't know, I can't see that. So let me go check a couple more spots. Could be that one even. Let's see. That definitely could be it. Just one of those garbage cans. How about this one? Yeah, it's like a second different color wall. And garbage cans can be moved too, so don't know. I feel like it's more likely that one. Right here. But that door isn't really there, so... I mean, that guy is standing next to that window, but it would go all the way to the ground. I mean, it looks like, you know, it could have been that, but that would have gone all the way to the ground. There's like a wall there, see? Different color. That's not the same. Come on, you guys. 45 more to go. We reached the goal where I can donate 5 more memberships. It's like pulling teeth. We've got, without 2 of the supporters tonight, we would be woefully short. I do not know where that one is. It could be like they just moved it, and I don't know where it would be, but this is where they say that it was placed on Bourbon and St. Peter's. So it's right here. That was at 153. All right, you want to do the some of the questions, I guess?
Raphael, almost here then. Regarding the trip to Egypt, do we know whether it was the first time that he traveled to a country? Did he have any family?
Maybe at like 7 in the morning.
Says that we explained the trip, or do we know at this point who he met with?
Thank you, Sandy T.
Yeah, at this time we're still trying to determine the answers to that. That is exactly what our priority is for those international trips. Essentially, we're looking at who has he encountered during those trips, who is he meeting with, where has he traveled while in those specific countries, and whether or not any visits to those countries may or may not have any indication as to the reasons behind.
All right, 25 more, 25. Actually, it was 10 was sent to coffee, so it's after that, so only 25 more now.
And this attack in our city.
And if I can follow up, do you know at this point whether he received any financial assistance from anybody to be able to finance that trip? In other words, is it probably too early to rule out that he might have gotten assistance from a group or a foreign entity at this point?
Yeah, at this time we can't determine whether or not he received any assistance. We do know that he was employed, and at the time of his attack, but at this point we can't rule out whether or not he received any type of assistance.
Sasha Busney with ABC News. Can you explain his trip to Cairo? On the way back, you mentioned that he had traveled through Ontario on his way back to the States. What was the reason for that detour?
Yeah, so we don't know the reason behind that, and again, this is one of the items that we are looking to.
I think there's something else going on. There's
another
more than one person involved
behind each of those individual trips. So we have legal attaché office.
I think there's somebody else in the area that was helping him, or he could have done it himself and it just had another vehicle somewhere. I just don't think he's going to take off in the pickup truck. Wouldn't make a lot of sense.
In each one of those countries, the FBI does, but we are working with our law enforcement partners.
I think he was getting advice at least from somebody else.
Determine those answers.
On the arsalt that was used here, as opposed to a much more common, easily gettable.
That's right, Paula.
Does that
Pretty
speak
Paula.
to someone giving him some sort of instruction? How did he get his hands on this more rare explosive?
See, this is what everybody always says. Gray, you tell it like it is. There you go.
Yeah, I'll defer that question to SAC Jackson.
Yeah, so again, this is a field test that was done in the field, right? So all this material is going to be tested at the FBI lab. We believe when the chemist and the lab examines the material,
thanks, who's your mom?
It will be true RDX.
Ready to go.
our sod is not as common as RDX, but there's precursor materials at the house in Houston where he made this material. So the field test is preliminary.
Look at that smile, everybody. It makes me want to smile. Gonna have to look at that one.
Let the FBI lab confirm the material, but again, these materials are available here.
Looks like it's kind of struggling here. See how the graphics are missing and everything? Let me close it down. Yeah, there it is. I'll send the report, but I'll open it back up again. Adobe Premiere isn't very stable, I gotta be honest. Let's see, how many miles? I guess we could figure it out. The Airbnb was pretty close. Just in general, it was about, well, I'd say between a mile and a half from the end to end.
Let the FBI lab confirm the material, but again, these materials are available here, and at this time there's no indication that he received this material from overseas.
Yeah, Brittany Berner, local WDSU NBC affiliate. So do you think that by the person moving the cooler, if he placed it in the fridge cooler, that it potentially gets toward his plan of what he had?
Yeah, I have no indication if that either deterred his plan or not. We do know that those individuals appear to be unwitting as to what was inside the coolers when they were moving the coolers.
But why were they moving the coolers?
Or looking inside the coolers. But we don't have any indication that whether or not that deterred his plan.
And as a follow-up, you initially it was said that it was other people to be believed to be a part of this. I know you said that you have no reason to believe that now. So we don't believe the person, whoever moved the cooler or anything, was in regards to this.
We don't have any indication that the individuals that moved the cooler were accomplices or witting individuals. From what we've observed so far and what we've gathered through our investigation is that they were unwitting individuals who moved the cooler from location to location without knowledge of what is in the cooler.
Was he driving it at all? Like, do you think he was driving it, like, as far as it being motorized of some sort?
No, the cooler was not motorized. The cooler was a standard square. There were two coolers, standard square cooler, as well as the circular ice.
Yeah, we already kind of went through all that. He didn't walk. He drove his car. His vehicle was, they said he parked his pickup truck near that location where you see him at, what was it, 112, 203, and 208.
Right here.
Mike Burlstein, WWL Louisiana. I have a question and a follow-up if I could. The first question is, when you mentioned electronic match instead of some kind of standard detonator, why was that not employed? What foiled that? Was there a plan for him to use that? Does it have a remote capability that somehow did not get used?
Yeah, as to that question, so electric match or hobby switch are commonly available items that common citizens could get their hands on. A detonator is not something that a common citizen can get their hands on. That's why he chose electric match. It is readily available. As far as the device that was recovered,
that's exactly what I just said a few minutes ago. So what were we at left, you guys? How much more? We need 20 more, you guys. Can we do that with 295 people watching? That's 10 cents a piece. If we could just get to, or then I'll donate the 5 memberships. Yeah, so here's the thing. It's like at 2:03, he's coming back in exactly the amount of time it would take after putting the first pipe bomb at 1:53. And at 2:03, he's walking this direction, and then he's somewhere for 5 minutes. right? Then he walks back at 2:08 this direction, and then picks up that barrel or whatever the hell it was at some point, and makes his way down to here at 2:28. So it took him like 20 minutes, so, you know, maybe it's a little slower walking with that, but now there's Alley Cake. We're down to 19. 19.
The devices did have receivers attached to them with the explosive material. There was a transmitter that was recovered inside of Jabbar's vehicle, so we believe that the transmitter would have function and would have
anything
worked,
works.
but for New Orleans
Gifted
PD putting him down before he
etc.
could get access to that transmitter and set off the devices.
And my follow-up question is, we have heard about
Believe that the transmitter would have function.
Oh, there's the answer. See, they believe it would have. See, look at
Inside of Jabbar's vehicle, so we believe that the transmitter would have function and would have worked, but for New Orleans PD putting him down before.
Oh, well, there you go. There's the answer. Right there. They believe that it would have worked. It would have set off the explosions, except he was shot beforehand. So I think exactly what I said is exactly why he put those pipe bombs where they were placed. He was going to continue down Bourbon Street, running over people, and then setting off the pipe bombs behind him as a diversion, and maybe even killing more people as he was leaving. Doesn't that make sense?
Before he could get access to that transmitter and set off the devices.
And my follow-up question is, we have heard about things that Jabbar posted on social media, obviously threatening.
He wasn't going to set him off right there, because that's not why he put them there.
Months and days before the attack.
He wasn't going to set him off after he crashed.
And then in the hours, is there any intelligence capability, FBI or otherwise, that could have intercepted what he posted on social media?
There you go, Amber. We got our answer. We got our answer.
The key here, when it comes to social media posts, we really rely on the public, the individuals who are seeing these posts to report these posts. As you know, there are several privacy concerns regarding social media. So unless it's a publicly available online platform, we have to have a legal process in order to get into those postings. So really, we rely on information from the public and information from concerned citizens.
Can you go a little further into where he posted this and who may have seen it in advance of the attack?
Yeah, I don't know who would have seen it in advance of the attack. He has, from our understanding, he's posted on a couple encrypted applications as well as on his own social media.
Right here.
Yeah, Jack Burke with AP. Do we have any indications as...
Thank you, M. Jordan Jarding. We're now down to 17, you guys. Who's going to make that happen?
Why he chose New Orleans specifically to play that attack?
No, we don't have any indication as to why he specifically chose New Orleans. Again, this is one of our top priorities, is to get an understanding as to not just on the day of the attacks, but the reasoning behind the two previous trips back in October as well as November. But that is a concern for us and a priority for us as well.
Right here. Hi, it's Anna Arritt from the BBC News. I just wondered if there was any indication from obviously we discussed the fire in Mandeville around about 5 o'clock, if you had any idea why he waited till 3 a.m. to carry out the attack?
No, I think the timeline is this. So what occurred was he left the Mandeville Street address in New Orleans at 12:15 a.m. Right before he left the residence, he already used an open flame to start a fire in the linen closet.
There you go. Yeah, it all makes sense to me now.
And we know that because the thermostat converts from heating the home to cooling the home, even though it's cold outside. And it's trying to compensate for the temperature in the house elevating from the fire being inside. The fire extinguished itself at some point after that because it was put in a closed area where it ran out of oxygen and fuel, and it smothered itself. At 5:18, a neighbor down the street smelled smoke in the air, and that's when they called 911 and the fire department showed up. and then we all went over there at that point. So the timeline is, he said it at 12:15 when he left. It lit and it went for some time. It
Hey, thanks TJ for the Venmo.
Smothered itself at some point after 12:17, and
we got to get
the fire
this
department
chat
arrived,
to
they
the
put
goal,
out the
though.
smoldering fire.
Come on.
One more question. If it's possible to know, just to follow up to that, I mean, it's safe to say that he would have reached Moorhaven sooner than 3 a.m. You don't have any idea why he waited those few hours from leaving the house on Mount Hill to arriving at the French.
No, the way that accelerants were placed around the house, his intention was for the whole house to go up.
Right.
It could have been. It could have been a distraction.
Right, there you go.
He's not here to explain himself on that, but it could have been done as a distraction to have resources ushered that way. But again, the way that the accelerant was set up in the house, in the different rooms, the intent was for the fire to spread and then eventually engulf the whole house.
Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate it. I'd like to give you the information about where you can find the videos. You can go to fbi.gov/Bourbon Street Updates, or go to our FBI News page. Thank you, everyone.
15. 11 to go. All right. Well, thank you all very much. That was my video today from earlier. So 11 to go, you guys. Can we do it? Can we do it? We're leaving this up to chat. But thanks to TJ on the Venmo. Why he chose New Orleans, they were partying with alcohol, and his fringe religious beliefs believe anyone drinking is a sinner. I don't know. Yeah, it could be. You know? Don't know for sure. All right, so I'll do the theory one more time, right? So at 12:15 a.m. at his Airbnb, he sets a fire, and he's hoping for the entire house to go up in flames and use it as a distraction, drawing police officers and the fire department there, and they would be sending the officers and fire department from this, immediate area because it's so close. Had he set the fire like over here, it'd probably be a whole different fire department. But he set it just close enough that any assets over here would go over to this house, and then he would do what he's going to do. But at around, so an hour after he set the fire, at 1:12, he's over here, likely parked his truck somewhere over in this area. And at 1:12, he walks this way and somehow acquires a cooler somewhere in this area, and then makes his way down Bourbon Street, and then at 1:53 leaves the cooler in this area. Then it's a 9-minute walk, and 10 minutes later he makes his way, and he's back up here again at 2:03, walking this direction as if he's going back to his vehicle. Then just 5 minutes after that, he leaves this area for the last time at 2:08, at least the last time on this street with this camera. At 2:08, he walks this way and then somehow acquires that canister also that he put pipe bombs in, and it took him 20 minutes. So it should have taken about 12 minutes to get here, but it took 20, so maybe, just the awkwardness of walking with that slowly, whatever, or he had to get it from somewhere. There is like 8 minutes of missing time. So he's right here at 2:28, places it there. Then he walks up, makes his way back up here. Now, when he went back up there, he didn't go on the same street because we don't see him walk by again. So he gets to his vehicle somehow, maybe on some other streets. They might have that surveillance somewhere. He gets on in that truck, and then I think he drove right here, exactly where he did the surveillance, onto Governor Nichols Street and Royal Street, took a right, and then he followed that all the way down here. After, in the truck, he goes all the way down until he gets right here, and he takes a right. That's why we see the truck coming in from this direction in the surveillance footage, and then it does a hard right, goes shooting up the street here, killing 14 people in these 2.5 blocks here, and then crashes his car unintentionally at a construction site. He meant to continue his rampage through Conti and Bourbon, through St. Louis and Bourbon, and then even through, I guess you could even say all the way through Toulouse Street and Bourbon. So he's going to do 3 more blocks. 1, 2, 2.5 more blocks he was going to go through. So 5 total blocks. And then as soon as he got through this intersection, he was going to detonate the canister pipe bombs. And then he was going to go through this intersection and detonate the pipe bomb on St. Peter's and Bourbon. And then that would be enough distraction and stuff going on where he would then drive off. And then I think he perhaps had another vehicle parked where he would dump the pickup truck, maybe even set that one on fire. I wonder if he had accelerants in the pickup truck, even though obviously it would lead back to who rented it, stuff like that. And then he got into another vehicle perhaps and left. But I don't think he intended to die at all on that. He had too many diversions and things set up. All right, guys, we're 11 short. Is there any way? I mean, I'm not sure why. It used to be so simple. If I'd say, hey, we're 11 short, somebody would get to the number where we get to the gifting the 5 memberships. It was always, it just seems now it's just tough. But I think that makes sense to me. This all, I don't know what he was doing for the days before, why there were still pipe bombs in his house. Maybe there were ones he didn't use. He didn't think he built them correctly, in the Airbnb, etc. Nobody knows what you're talking about, Lucas. Let's see. Come on, you guys. You can do it. You can do it. I have faith. And then we'll move on to the Livelsberger stuff. I just want to reach the goal, donate the 5 memberships, and then we can get on to the next portion. Oh, well, thanks, Crystal. You talking to me? Or somebody named nonetheless? I'm gonna stay absolutely still until we hit the goal. Tell you what, I'll throw myself in prison. Okay, I hate to do it, but we're gonna be in prison now until we get to that goal. It's so easy. It's almost unbelievable. Well, there's Toxic Tink, is that right? Or is that a different? Oh, no. So someone named Stacy and Toxic Tink did it on the Buy Me a Coffee. Man, you guys in the chat, though. Jesus. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. So here we go. Now we're going to do... Now, don't you guys remember how it used to be? Like, it'd just be, all right, guys, let's do it. And boom, boom. Now it's like, yeah, screw you. All right, let's see. There we go. There's 5. Yeah, well, I think everybody kind of remembers. I don't know if the economy's... I think it's just the time of year and it's bad. I'm just trying to make things happen, you guys. If you can't, you can't. If you can, you can. I know, Sandy. You keep telling me the stuff that I already know over and over and over again. I got it. Let's see. And then also thanks to TJ over there from Venmo. What does that mean? what that means. You know, it'd be cool though. I wonder if, like when you guys are supporting, if Trump does the thing where no tax on tips, I wonder if super chats will count as tips. Because that's really what they are, right? I mean, that'd be pretty sweet if that turned out like that. Okay, so let's switch over to Livelsberger. Some interesting stuff. Well, thanks for all of your guys' kindness. I mean, you guys are what allow the channel to, you know, because it's the bulk effect, you know, somebody gives 10, 20, 30, you know, all the money during the month, and then I can give thousands away because there's so many different people. So, you know, people always say, you're donating their money. What do you mean they're giving it to my channel to help support me, and then I do as good as I can, you know. I think $228,500 in 5 years is pretty good, you know. I'm not ashamed. And yeah, so I guess that would be 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Yeah, so all in 5 years. January of 2020 is when we started counting. The year before that, we actually donated like 5 or something, because we hadn't really, you know, it wasn't really a thing that we were doing. All right, so here it is. He described all the same textbook symptoms. Ex-girlfriend of soldier involved in Cybertruck explosion speaks out, says PTSD may have played a role. Let's see, I think she might be even in this.
Only see right here.
After a recent deployment to Afghanistan. For the outdoors, especially substantial and blast injuries he had in deployment to Afghanistan. And he was struggling with some concussions and blast injuries he had. He was just exhausted from the back-to-back tours.
Alicia Arritt says things were great when she first met Matthew Livelsberger back in 2018. They went on
injuries.
She says she believed
Army nurse at Landstuhl.
But as time went on, Arritt says she could tell something was off.
I was an Army nurse at Landstuhl and then an Army nurse at Walter Reed Medical Center.
Well, she was an Army nurse, so she knows.
So I'd seen a lot of the war injuries.
She says she believes it was post-traumatic stress disorder.
What's funny, Becky? Yes. PTSD is funny? I don't get it.
Described all the symptoms textbook. He was having, in 2020, he was having paranoia and nightmares and...
Right, so that's exactly it.
Exhausted and depressed and...
That's why I don't believe the gravitic drone stuff. That's just, you know, that's science fiction crap. I'm sure there's stuff like that exists somewhere, some exotic technology that we're using, but they're not flying around in a city above your head with lights on. Okay, I can tell you that.
He was gaining weight and couldn't think.
Arritt says that despite the challenges, Livelsberger did not seek help from the Army to her knowledge.
There was a lot of stigma in his unit about seeking mental health help.
I'm telling you, it's so weird. The last season that I watched, Navy SEALs or whatever that show is, on Paramount, or was it Paramount? Can't remember exactly where it was, but it was, you know, 6 seasons, pretty good show. That's exactly what it was all about. How there was just these major concussion events that the main actor, the guy from Bones, you know, he's in there. And the stigma, and how he wouldn't let anybody say anything until one time it actually affected his decision making. And you know, then so they're trying to make it so that you can still be an operator even if you've had these concussion events, because if you start complaining about it, then they remove you. SEAL Team 6, right, Paramount. Yeah.
And if he got flagged for having depression or having a TBI,
So I think
he
it
would have
said
been made
Paramount, didn't it?
non-deployable. And he absolutely didn't want that. He wanted to be there for his guys.
After 2021, the two parted ways. Arritt says she hadn't heard from him, himself. This is a video Arritt says he sent her showing off the Cybertruck he rented. And this one of him appearing to drive to Las Vegas. Just hours later, he was gone.
The FBI came to my door and told me about,
That's
from them.
crazy.
That was awful, watching somebody I love burn alive.
Investigators say there needs to be a bigger conversation about mental.
Pay attention to what mental health in America.
He didn't burn alive, though.
Looks like, and I think this is just one to the
about caring for these veterans.
Arritt tells me that she still does not understand what those messages on his phone investigators released just yesterday mean, but is absolutely heartbroken for his family during this time. I'm Grace Kramer reporting for KKTV 11 News.
Grace, thank you so much.
Let's see. I first met him after a recent deployment in Afghanistan. He was struggling with some concussions and blast injuries. He said he was just exhausted from the back-to-back tours. Arritt said things were great when they first met. They went on hikes and trips, but Arritt could tell something deep down was wrong. I was an Army nurse at Landstuhl, that sounds like maybe Germany, and then an Army nurse at Walter Reed Medical Center. So I've seen a lot of the war injuries, stated Arritt. She believes it was post-traumatic stress disorder. He described all the symptoms as a textbook. In 2020, he was having paranoia, nightmares. He was exhausted and depressed. He was gaining weight and couldn't think. Arritt added that despite the challenges Livelsberger did not seek help from the Army to her knowledge. There's a lot of stigma in his unit about seeking mental health, and if he got, that's so weird that it's in the show, but it's like a real thing that's still there, you know. And if he got flagged for having depression or having TBI, he would have been made non-deployable, and he absolutely did not want that. He wanted to be there for his guy. I mean, that's so amazing. That's exactly the same storyline and everything that's on that show. So it must be like a totally legitimate. You know what? Has there ever been a show that David Boreanaz, or however you pronounce his name, has been on that it didn't do well? I mean, there hasn't been one. He did well on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He did well on. What was it? Yeah, Bones, and then this one. It's like he just has these long-running hits, one after the other. It's crazy. Let's see. The FBI came to my door and told me I found out from them that was awful watching somebody I love burn alive. Investigators in Las Vegas say there needs to be bigger conversations about mental health in the military. We really need to pay attention to those individuals. Pay attention to what mental health in America looks like, and I think this is just one more incident that brings out the forefront of where it is, where we are talking about those types of things. Arritt told 11 News she agrees the VA has gotten so much better about caring for these veterans, but active duty, they don't treat them. They just keep them in the war until they're used up, and then the VA takes care of them after they're out. Arritt adds that she is completely heartbroken. Let's see. We reached out to the U.S. Army about mental health resources. The Army is fully committed to assisting our soldiers and has a multitude of behavioral health professionals and resources that are available to our soldiers. Right, they're available, but like she was saying, the stigma causes them not to want to use the availability. Yeah, let's see. So there's a neighbor.
11 News reporter Michelle been in the.
Jared, the neighbor we spoke with, says she never noticed any signs of unusual behavior from Livelsberger for as long as she has lived.
Livelsberger? What?
Near him. She says that the
I mean,
neighborhood is
Livelsberger.
really quiet and they
Livelsberger.
hardly ever talk to other people living here. The neighbor, Cindy Hellwig, says occasionally her and Livelsberger would say hi to each other and he would tell her about the Mustang he was selling to his friend. Hellwig says she remembers Livelsberger was always carrying boxes in and out of his house, but she has no idea what was in the boxes. After
All right, because why would you go, hey, what's in your box?
hearing about the incident, which happened yesterday morning, Hellwig says she's worried now.
It's pretty scary. It is. I'm a little uneasy, you know. I hope they will patrol this area a little bit more now. I feel a little safer.
I've tried talking to other people who live in this same area, but nobody else wanted to talk on camera.
Mm-hmm. Dad was deployed, Sandy Shirley said. My dad was deployed virtually the entire Vietnam conflict. Wow. 10 years? That's like a long... well, it's way... How many years was that? Like 10 years, wasn't it? Maybe even 12. No help at all. It was looked down on even after nightmare stuff in the Navy. Alright, let's see what this one says. Matthew Livelsberger's ex-girlfriend reveals ominous warning signs. So, I mean, I don't know if this is them just taking... It looks like they're just kind of using the same thing. It looked like they had a different angle of a surveillance footage, though, of the car blowing up. You could actually see him sitting in the seat and kind of slumping over a little bit. I saw in some quick little video that somebody had. Police allege Livelsberger, who was on an approved break from the military, hired the truck in Colorado and drove it across the border to Nevada on New Year's Day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just sort of interesting, right? Like, even in this case, this guy, Tier 1 operator, knows how to make explosives, but he just put together some sort of, you know, fireworks and some stuff, and just enough to do what he wanted it to do. And, you know, it didn't kill anybody else. It was just himself, and the fireworks went off. And he does it right outside Trump Tower, or Trump Hotel there. And he's got, he's in a Tesla. So for me, he's sort of an outlier. It just so happens he decided to do it on the same day. I'm not, it's hard for me to, the only connection I would see if you can find a third party that was manipulating two separate people that were doing two separate things and had two separate ideologies, but suggested similar things, like, hey, why don't you guys rent a car from Two-Row and yeah, do this and that, you know, various things. I don't know. It's just, I'm not seeing the connection between Livelsberger and Jabbar. Not saying there can't be some weird random one. I would put somebody like Jabbar and Thomas Crooks and you know, the second guy, I forgot his name, that tried to shoot Trump. I put them in the same ballpark, you know. Not that they're related, but just the same kind of politically motivated terrorism, where Livelsberger just sort of was like, hey, it was kind of almost dumb. The thing that he wrote was exactly what he was getting. I mean, it's amazing. Let me find that again. Was that 2 days ago? Maybe it's in here. Yeah, I think it was this one, right? We are the United States of America, the best country, people. Best country. people to ever exist. But right now, we are terminally ill and headed towards collapse. Right. So if you'd written this a year ago, it seems like it would have made sense. Hey, it's Ivan Victor. How's it going, you bastard? We are crumbling because of a lack of self-respect, morals, and respect for others. Greed and gluttony has consumed us. The top 1% decided long ago they weren't going to bring everyone else with them. You are cattle to them. We have strayed from family values and corrupted our minds, and I'm a prime example of having it all but never being enough. A lot of us just sitting around waiting to die. No sunlight, no steps, no fresh air, no hope. Our children are addicted to screens by the age of 2. We are filling our bodies with processed foods. Well, there you go. You got Robert Kennedy right there. Our population is too fat to join the military, yet we are facing war with China. So that's why you got Robert Kennedy to get us healthier with better foods in the schools and taking out some of the chemicals in some of our foods. You know, apparently Fruit Loops look brighter in the United States because they put a special chemical in there that isn't good for people. But over in Europe, they're not allowed, so the Fruit Loops aren't quite as shiny. You know, kind of quite as bright, I guess is the term. We must end the war in Ukraine. Well, that's what everybody wants, really. Unless you're like a Cheney, you probably want to keep it going. With negotiated settlement, it is the only way. Focus on strength and winning. So these are all things that Trump has said. Negotiating a settlement, right? It is the only way. Focus on strength and winning. Masculinity is good and men must be leaders. Yeah, I think women can be leaders also. Have you guys seen some of those amazing little shorts that are on YouTube of like women pilots in the military? They're cool as hell too, just have their ground crew guys that salute to them and they salute back and then do little sort of their own little gig with them with their hand signals and stuff, and they get up in the plane and just absolute badasses, up in the jet. So I think the thing is you can't getting rid of masculinity is stupid. Absolutely stupid. Okay, so there's a place for women leaders also. It's not like they can't be leaders. So I don't agree with that. That portion right there. Oh, that men are the only ones that can be leaders. I just think you have to have the right type of. You can't just put somebody in there because, I guess that's DEI, right? You don't want to put somebody in there because it fills a box. You want to put somebody in there because they earned the spot and are qualified and earned it. You know what I mean? Like, they are better than other people. You don't put them in there because they're a little less, but boy, you're filling a box. It just insults people to do it that way. Right? Hope you guys agree with that. We must end the war in Ukraine. Okay, wait. We don't have government. Okay. Masculinity is good and men must be leaders. Yeah, so maybe he's just referring to men, meaning, strength is a deterrent and fear is the product. Right, and that's what Trump would do. He'd scare the hell out of people. Like Kim Jong-un said, hey, I've got a red button with nukes, and Trump said, I've got a bigger red button. And then I guess they said, nobody's ever talked to me like that, you bet. The income inequality in this country and cost of living is outrageous. The number of homeless on our streets is embarrassing and disgusting. Have some pride and take care of this. Stop obsessing over diversity. We are all diverse and DEI is a cancer. Couldn't agree more than that. I just think it's so harmful. And I bet you Martin Luther King wouldn't even have been into, what was that called? Before, before it was called DEI, it was called, what's that? Yeah, man, I can't remember that called. Let's see. What was that called? Affirmative action is what I was looking to. Yeah, affirmative action isn't something that Martin Luther King would be interested in. You know how you know that? Is because Martin Luther King said, judge not by the color of one's skin, but by the content of their character, right? So I guess what you might say is that affirmative action was kind of countering people who would look at that, but at the same time, you're judging somebody by the color of their skin instead of their ability or skill level. And so that causes problems. Everybody wants to be hired because they're good and deserve to be where they're at, right? Not put there to fill a box. And I think that is just a really bad thing to have. Now, it might have been a valuable thing, affirmative action, at first, because it sort of like normalized the racial diversity in the business world, and then it became more normal, I guess. But I just think, I don't know if Martin Luther King would be like into that. What do you guys think? We must move on from the culture and weakness and self-enrichment perpetuated by our senior political and military leaders. We are done with the blatant corruption. Our soldiers are done fighting wars without end states or clear objectives. This was not a terror attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Well, hey, listen, you already got your answer. See, I mean, the weird part about this guy is Trump was put into office to answer every single thing that he just typed in there, and he didn't even wait to see how it turned out. Yeah, I like Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah. Why did I personally do it now? I needed to cleanse my mind of the brothers. So that's the real reason, you guys. Right there. He did it because he wanted to cleanse his... Because look at that. It's totally contradictory. Right? Are you guys even here? Nobody's commented for 10 minutes. All right? Why did I personally do it now? I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took. So that's the real answer. All the other stuff up above that he wrote had nothing to do with it. That's why it doesn't make sense. Consider the last sunset of 2024. The last sunset of 2024, and my actions, the end of our sickness. Now, well, the end of the sickness happened on November. Now, I can't remember what day election was, but that's when it ended. Rally around the Trump, Musk, Kennedy, and ride the wave. So it's almost like he wrote this in October or something. But he didn't, right? He wrote this after all of that took place, because he even says, rally around the Trump, Musk, Kennedy, and ride this wave, meaning he knows that they won. So I'm not sure what your point was. It didn't wake up anybody. The country already woke up. That's why they voted for Trump, right? I mean, that's you know. Keep pressing what? What are you talking about, Duke? What are you talking about? Keep pressing. Keep pressing. What does that mean? Type in a sentence that makes sense, man. Consider the last sunset of 2024. Kennedy, and then he says, and ride the wave of the highest hegemony for all Americans. We are second to none. Fellow service members, veterans, and all Americans, time to wake up. We are being led by weak and feckless leaders who only serve to enrich themselves. Military and vets move on. DC starting now. So this seems like a whole different thing. It's kind of weird. And now he's talking about, like, you know, having some kind of crazy military action in the streets or something. But he wasn't saying that before. Anybody know what the hell Duke's talking about? Anybody? Who's pressing? What are people pressing? All right, you guys. Well, I think we're kind of near the 3-hour mark here. And my father-in-law served in Vietnam and wouldn't talk about it. Yeah, Vietnam was a horrendous battle situation. Wasn't good. But anyways, you know, I guess we sort of got to, we haven't made it to the goal on the actual YouTube side of it for a while, but at least we got there on, you know, using other, you know, like Buy Me a Coffee, etc. All right. Well, did you guys find the show interesting tonight? I thought it was pretty good. I think I nailed what he was doing here, you guys. I think it's absolutely what he was doing. You know, it's just walking. He was walking back and forth, placing the devices, and then he used the first house as a diversion. He thought it was going to be a blazing fire at that time. Well, cool, Indiana Nana. Glad you liked the chat. So thank you to Amber Maiden. Started us off with a cat eye. Then we had Sandy Shirley gift the membership. And then Jennifer Geller, Alley Cake. That was at 625. Then John Wolf at 628. Then Sword Destin gifted 5 at 631. Then Vicky White, 638. Then Alley Cake at 650, 12-minute there. Then Michelle Danica at 651. Then Madeline Brewer at 652. Then Julie Koch at 652. Then there was a pretty big gap. And then Jim Neving at 716. Then Brian Meadows at 718. Then another 18-minute gap there with Becky S. with a cat eye. Then 7:40, Madeline Brewer. Then 19 minutes later, Richard Watts. Then 10 minutes after that, Alley Cake. And then Sandy T. 15 minutes after that one. Then Michelle Wood around the same time. 2 minutes after that, Who's Your Mama? Then 6 minutes after that, Alley Cake. Then M. Jordan Jarding, 3 minutes after that. Then Princess Mel, 2 minutes after that. Then Toxic Tink, 1 minute after that one. Then 8 minutes after that, I gifted 5 memberships. And then nothing since then. So that was 8:46, and now it's 9:16. So yeah, you guys, if you want to do a last minute one, that'd be great. But I think we got to the goal tonight on this show. Today was a busy day. 2 videos, and which didn't get watched at all. And then also a full 3-hour live stream. And so unfortunately, the 2 videos that I put out, if they make $20 combined in ad revenue, it'd be lucky given the number of views. But I'll let you see. I'll tell you what the ad revenue is. You probably find it interesting, right? So on the 2 videos that I made today, tomorrow, before the show starts, I'll know what each one of them made in the ad revenue department, and I'll let you know, all right? You know, I have one video that I made from years ago, in the Kanika Jenkins case, that was a literal viral video. It's got 2-point-something million views. And that video made like thousands of dollars, you know, like it, but it, you know, that was made, what year was that? 2017. And it's weird. And so, you know, those guys that have those channels, they get like 1 million views or 500,000 each time. Those people make like $1 million a year, you guys, because every one of their videos is one of those videos. That's not even one of their viral ones, right? They, like, if you have 8 million subs, every video you put out probably gets 1 million views, right? And then every once in a while, you put out one of those videos that gets 15 or 20 million views, and you're just like, you know, I mean, those videos, a video like that, you could almost buy a house with. It's crazy. It's weird, you know, because if a 2 million view video can make, I mean, you could probably, let's see, 10, that'd be, well, not a house, but you could all buy like half of a house. Isn't that wild? It's just, there's no rhyme or reason for how a video, it wasn't even my best Kanika Jenkins video, but yet somehow it still gets viewed and commented on to this day. Weird. Yeah, well, cool. I'm glad you guys liked the show. Appreciate it. It doesn't make much money anymore. That was all back in the day, but I'm just saying that it's weird that there's a video out there that has 2 million views and thousands of comments and thousands of likes. And man, you guys are like the most untalkative I've ever seen. But anyways, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person... It does feel like the trolls are trying to set up something to punish me.
Crime dissector, flag rejector, I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Greg is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. Yeah, but everybody be safe with all that snow out there, everybody. It's not snowing here, but I guess it's snowing pretty big all over the place. So be safe out there. All right, thanks everybody.